Okay, so The Backpack Bride. I'm not gonna go. This book was a long book, so I'm not gonna do everything. But the gist of this book was, it hit me on a whole nother level because I was very, very, very insecure and broken, and I wasn't healed by any means, and I was using a lot. I didn't know any healthy coping mechanisms. I did not give myself any credit. I was way too hard on myself. People pleaser, perfectionist, all that. And overthinker that I still am, but even more so. And like not healthy, And this book just like this girl wants and longs to be loved. But she doesn't feel like she's deserving of that. Because of what she's been through, whatever. And the way Christian was so patient with her. And yes, he's a book boyfriend, of course. He's like a book boyfriend, okay? But it's still true. Like, there can be men like that. There can be people like that in real life. You know what I mean? And this dude was just so patient, and he's hot. I'm just gonna be honest, he's hot. I'm just be honest, he is. And I don't like the biker type, really. That's not my thing, but he makes it work. Like, I'm just reading about how God, like, it's just, anyways. So, but anyway, so just there's sweet little moments, like one moment she was coming down with like a cold or something, and like he took her to drew her a warm bath or whatever, and she got in, and she was trying to wash her hair, and he's like, may I do that for you so you don't strain your neck? And then they just had this ultimate like emotional conversation, like just a moment of just bare vulnerability on her end. And she just like he has like helped her in her grief and everything like that, and I love that. That's so beautiful. Like, all these moments are just beautiful, and it's just God ordained, and it's just like how it should be, like how a godly, healthy, mature relationship should be. And is both of them like making each other better, because we don't need anyone to complete us. We have Jesus to complete us, and because when you get in a relationship with someone, they can't, and they won't ever be your everything. Like, that's Jesus's job, but these people, they just like leaned on one another. They helped one another out. Granted, it was a beneficial thing, because like, she had to do this for her son Axel in order to keep him, because she was single and she needed a good, strong, like, male figure in her life or whatever. And and then he needed it for the company's sake, for his father's sake. And but anyway, so that was good. But they had moments like that, and like just raw vulnerability, and just cute little flirty moment. A lot of flirty moments, a lot of witty banter. Like, I think chapter 8, was it chapter 8? I need to check again, but I believe it was like chapter 8, and I forgot how far into chapter 8 you go, but like at some point they bold-faced like their text or whatever, and the minute they start the text, they got some witty banter going, and it's like swoon worthy and like kicking and screaming. Like, there wasn't a place in this book that wasn't kicking and screaming and swooning in the best freaking way. Like, I just love it. So there's that, but it's just good. I mean, it draws back to her faith, which I love, because that's who I am too. So it draws back to her faith, that God can get you through this, that God still loves you. Even he's like, God still loves you, and God still blesses you, whatever, even if you think that you aren't worthy, which you are. It doesn't matter if you're worthy. It matters that he's worthy, like what God's done, not just not what we've done or what we can say or whatever. We can't. It's who Jesus is, who God is. That's why God gives us grace, because we don't deserve it. That's literally the definition of grace, And it's just such a beautiful testament. And it's also beautiful when you finally let your guard down with that one person, And it's just such a beautiful testament. It's like, oh, hey, God put them together. Like, you just know. It's like, oh, hey, God put them together, And they helped each other out. And Christian was able to be there for Axel, because Axel needed a strong father figure in his life. And, they had some disagreements, some arguments. And then I forgot where it was. But like, if y'all read it, you would know, because I read this book in almost like 2 days, like low key. Maybe 3 ish. But still, it was like they would call each other, but see, in a healthy, mature, godly relationship, you should be able to call each other out. Not in a criticizing way, not in a condemning, I don't know what I said, not a be. I was trying to say a word, but I couldn't think of it, and then my brain didn't really work. So, but not in a belittling way, just calling each other out, but in a calm kind of way. This dude in this book is the epitome of like calm. Like he really was, and he was just a calm, stable force for her, through the grief, through the crying, through the doubt, through everything like that, like all that stuff. So it's just a beautiful testament of that and how a godly, beautiful relationship can work. And it's supposed to work, and, and how she was afraid to risk it all. That's why she was always running from one job to the other, never really settling down or whatever. He's like, they were talking, he's like, is that why you run? Because you're afraid? And she's like, no. Or I forgot what she said, and he's like, but then they're like, yeah, because she was afraid of attachment, afraid of losing, because she had lost so many people in her life. She was afraid of that. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can only imagine. She'd been through a lot. I can only imagine, you know what I mean? But it's just beautiful, how they came together and the flirting, I'm like, boy. And then just everything, and like how they like she wasn't feeling good or whatever, and she's like, can you stay with me tonight? But they were married, so they could have done what married people do, of course. But like, he just like stayed with her. And they didn't do anything, but he just like stayed with her and everything and held her because she was sad and because she asked for him to. And he's like, for the time being, no matter how long, you're my wife. Right now, you're my wife, so I will take care of you. Like, no matter, like, you're not going to be my wife forever, but, like, I'm going to take care of you. I butchered that, I'm sorry, but I don't have my Goodreads to, like, to see it. But it was just beautiful, and, like, they were going out to dinner or whatever, and she was going to pay for it, but then he's like, no, babe, I got this. And she's like, she had that look, like, that was probably the look, like, that was a look. That's how I imagine it anyways. And then she's like, are you ever going to let me pay for anything ever again? And he's like, not as long as you share my last name. It's so beautiful. It's beautiful. But how he helped crack those walls, and he didn't take a sledgehammer and he wasn't impatient or whatever. Like, come on. Like, this is taking way too long. I'm out of here. Like, no, he was so patient with her. And he just reassured her. And that's just so beautiful, especially for those of us who have been hurt a lot in the past, and who need a lot of reassurance sometimes. I mean, I don't as much as I used to, thankfully. But still, it's nice to know. And, but it's beautiful, though. It's a beautiful moment. And no matter, like, you might not like your person all the time, but you still love them. Like, and they were in an argument or whatever, and they went to a birthday party, and she was leaning up against him. And he whispered down, I'm going to butcher this, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. But he's like, I'm sorry about earlier. We'll talk about it later. I don't know if he said, I still love you, I love you, whatever, but he said something in the middle. I don't remember. But anyways, he was just reassuring her. Like, hey, I'm sorry about earlier, because he did kind of mess up too. But like, those who know. But it was just so great, though. It was just such a testament, and I love her. I mean, I love that, though. Honestly, I love that. How she intertwines, like, romance and how it should be and stuff, and doesn't, like, she's a great storyteller. I don't even know. I don't even know. But it's just amazing. It's such a must-read. Like, it's such a must-read, y'all. Like, yeah. So that's my take of The Backpack Bride.